afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion on OEMs and robotic manufacturer partnerships, shaping sustainable future for agriculture. My name's Melinda Tasqueta-Mullane, and I'm the group editor at Meister Media Worldwide, a multimedia company serving the agricultural industry by providing information and networking opportunities to global markets in agriculture. OEMs and robotics manufacturers are increasingly forming partnerships to leverage each other's strengths and drive innovation in the automation and robotics industry. These partnerships allow OEMs to integrate advanced robotic solutions into the products and services, while robotics manufacturers gain access to broader markets and distribution channels. In addition, these collaborations can lead to the development of new technologies and solutions, benefiting both parties as well as the industry overall. This session aims to explore these topics further with a focus on market evolution, the challenges and realities of startups, and the role of strategic partnerships in driving innovation. So first, let's start off with a brief background from each of our panelists.
Thank you, Melinda. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Ole Gren. I am the founder and CEO of AgroIntelli. A Danish startup, we still tend to say, even though we've almost now been 10 years in the robotic business. I have a background as a farmer, basically because entering this business because I found tractors boring. So I needed to find solutions to help overcoming some of the boring work in this. Have been now almost for 25 years been working with automation in arable production. Of which the last 10 years have been with AgroIntelli and the commercialization of our robotic platform, Roboti. And looking very much forward to this discussion, as I believe this is an important step forward for the way we develop our community.
Thank you, Ole. Thank you, Melinda. Bonjour. My name is Thierry Lebricaire, so I'm from France, working for New Holland. Since 18 years now, it's a long time. Only on specialty crops, so it's the fruits and the vegetables around the world. And trying to develop the business, also to produce. I'm also the chief engineering and the platform manager for all the specialty harvesters. So famous grape harvester in France, then also olive, almonds, coffee, all of them. Few small background, coming from a farm. My father was also a contractor in north of Brittany. Tough conditions, some wet, humidity, windy. Lot of experience driving a lot of different ag machinery. And I fall in love with those specialty crop where today we have massive challenges versus the environment, versus the labor cost, willingness to do tough jobs, and also the cost, the business. Everybody wants to have healthy food, especially when we are discussing about vegetables and wine, but no one wants really to pay. So the technologies, the discussions, collaborations with all those startups are critical for us, or a solution also to speed up, and we will have more and more time to discuss about all of this during this session. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Thierry. Thank you, Melinda. So good afternoon from my side. I'm François Julien. I'm working for Kubota since 9 years in Europe. Before that, I was working in Canada also for Kubota and the Kvernaland Group. I'm a European product manager for the precision farming, and I'm also grew up in the agricultural landscape. My father was a dealer, and my uncle was two dairy farmers. So I also, since my really young age, being involved in the agriculture.
Wonderful. Thank you again, all of you, for being here. Let's start off by talking about strategic partnerships in agriculture. What role do strategic partnerships play in accelerating the development of agricultural technologies, and how do startups and OEMs balance their different strengths to achieve mutual success? Would you like to start?
Well, I think a very complicated question in that sense of how to balance strengths. But I think starting out with the whole purpose, you can be in the business as a startup because you believe you have a technology where you want to make a lot of money, selling off to an OEM at some point. We've seen that in medtech, biotech, startups making a business by selling it at an early stage. I think the main difference to the ag is that we see the business development, we have to prove much more the value of the technology we built, and we can move it to a certain level as a small company in an industry where we are talking to customers who are living off a marginal business. You don't get billionaire by being a farmer or a grower, so the risk willingness is smaller than in other businesses. And I think that's where we need to understand as small companies that we need partnerships to get an access to a larger market, to get, even more importantly, validation of our technology, because farmers cannot risk making a wrong investment because it will simply have too much of an impact to their production. So I think that's where there's a mutual benefit for us as the small technology supplier, but I also believe we can add huge value to the larger OEMs.
I can add some. Yeah, indeed, we are always looking for new technology. We have, and I'm only talking on specialty crops where, as I was just saying before, we have a lot of challenges. We don't have everything in-house. Yes, we have traditional DNA, long history on our different machines. Like we are just celebrating 50 years of picking grapes, so Bro. And we know that we are evolving, we are bringing like electrification and all this AI system, but we are slow. We don't have this agile approach that a startup, I'm saying also freshness, they are not so worried about their future, just except trying to survive. But they have no procedure, less procedures than us, and that's super important for us to try to grab what they have and not trying to destroy it, which is another discussion that we could have later. So it's super important. And also because it's very fragmented. Those businesses are over the world, and each countries, each vegetable or fruit are grown in a different way, with also different expectation from our customers and different usage, tradition in French. And especially here for the wine, we have probably the best wine in the world, but you go in another country, they think the same, but it's their approach, is our view, so that's also the way on the approach and the solution behind. It's local, and that's super difficult for us when we are global like this. So that's why we are with also startups.
Yes, first of all, I share the comment from Ole and Thierry. What I want to add on my side is, as a manufacturer, we have a kind of mission to fulfill the market request the farmer needs to be more efficient. And as Thierry said, as a big manufacturer, sometimes we are slow, we have many processes to follow in order to approve or develop some machines. So making this strategic partnership with the startup make the process easier to start. We can use the speed of the development from the startup. Usually the startup are thinking out of the box, which is sometimes not possible in the big groups. So this is where we need to find the balance between the speed of the development and the acceptance of the product, and then the go-to-market and use the organization of the dealer network of the big manufacturer.
It's important to understand the limitations as a small company and how to best leverage technology, which leads us into some of the challenges of startups and OEM collaboration. Startups often have the speed and innovation, while large OEMs bring established infrastructure and expertise. How can both parties overcome the challenges of integrating startup solutions into an OEM's existing product roadmap?
I think that a main fundament for a successful collaboration is mutual respect, because you can sit as a small company and get frustrated about a big organization, that knowing that you have to talk to several managers in several different departments, because what might be the responsibility of mine in the small company might be divided at 5 different departments in a big. So that understanding of where you're coming from and where they're coming from, I think that respect has to be there. And then it's maybe starting from my side, then it's patience to understand that, to allow the big supertanker also to do its necessary work.
Yes, I'm a strong believer on top of what you were just saying, Ole, is about relationship, the people behind. Because indeed, okay, the technology and the contracts, that whatever you put on papers, it's blow away as soon as we have something that is going wrong. So the people behind is more important. So that's why we are trying in New Holland on the specialty crop, it's to have a sort of 50-50. So we want to keep the people from the startup on board and to support them as much as we can. Yes, a super tanker can destroy them easily. Sometimes we drop some couple of money there and we even can forget them. So by bringing the people on board, by trying to collaborate, co-design or whatever, you try to learn each other and you try to grow. You try also to bring the experiences from our dealers, from our customers on board, which most of the time we have more experience than those startups. And that's for me key to the success.
Yes. The biggest challenge is, as Ole said, is the trust. The startup want to move really fast when the manufacturer want to get the product approved, and also sometimes the startup are on one segment, in one country or one part of the country or somewhere in Europe. So, and when the manufacturer have the bigger picture, so it's all about trust, all about discussion and time to understand the product on one side, the needs of bringing the product in the market, but also on the other side, the needs to have the global pictures, the full pictures to introduce the product, at least on the European level, which is on my side.
Those are all very excellent points. It's important to have realistic expectations and also understand investor expectations. Investors often have high expectations for returns, but the current market environment is more challenging. How should startups adjust their strategy and set more realistic goals to this new economic climate?
Well, I think the element of the economical climate that we're facing right now, I think that's a challenge whomever you are in the business. We've seen major layoffs in both big as well as it's been hard for small companies. I think it is something also to communicate into our financial environment of the tech space that this is something that takes time. What kind of like gives me the comfort going to sleep every night is that we need food tomorrow. We are not in a hobby or in a kind of like a sport something, but we are in something business where we know we are more and more people. So there's still a need for the solutions we're bringing. Sustainability is still an element which we need to face. So I'm not in doubt of the long-term business, but we also need to be internally realistic on what we can achieve for a certain investment, because we cannot do everything, even though we believe we can take on the whole world.
Realistic expectation. I've seen in the last couple of years more and more some numbers that are more realistic. Before was like going to the moon, crazy ramp-up curves. One point also that we'd like to add is that startups need to understand that we are not looking for a full solution. Most of the times we are looking for a small parts. It's like a puzzle. So we have already, at least ourselves, we cover the majority of the business in the world in this business, and we are missing here and there. We want to add some features, some specific components, but most of the time it's not a full entire solution, because we also have our own internal roadmap that we know where to go. We have our ideas. So startup just come and a small pieces in the puzzle. So they also have to understand this. So might be not going completely in front of the investors what they were expecting, and especially if they are just wanted to quit quickly with a big payback. That's most of the time not our ideas. So
yes, sometimes the expectation from the startup is really high, also because they are focusing on they develop one unique technology, and it's sometimes challenging, and it's once again it's the manufacturer have a bigger or global pictures, and they need to have the integration of this technology on the current portfolio, and to bring it into the market, to train the dealer, and to get the acceptance from their dealer, from their sales staff as well. So this is where we have also different differentiation in the expectation.
I think the point you mentioned, Thierry, on the expectations on how sales will grow, because a lot, if we even look back to study time, you look at entrepreneurship and everybody's talking this hockey stick. And I think that's not, we don't really have that example in agriculture, and I think that's really where it's a much more long-term. We might see it, but it's in a different time scale than we might see in other businesses. And I think that's definitely part of, I can look back and see one of my own realisms in this, how fast will this come? Because there's no doubt we see slowly increasing, but it's not like we've seen in other businesses. And I think that's a clear message from what at least I've learned and also see in this business.
And while startups may dream of full acquisitions by large OEMs, these are usually quite rare. Do you think that partnerships are often preferred? And how can startups make themselves more attractive to OEMs in these collaborations?
I'm curious to hear that. Well, I think I already almost understood answer, sorry. I still prefer a 50-50. What is, and again, back to the investors, it's tough because as soon as we put money, a coin, let's say, in the system, they think that we will go to the end, because then they can feel also that they are quite sort of trapped, because they cannot value properly enough the company to Kubota, to go to Kubota or to Deere or whatever, because New Holland has a small share. So it's also a point that I've faced this several times. So sometimes it's all in or nothing. So it's not easy. I think now obviously the economic situation make this slightly different now, but for me it's quite better. But no full acquisition.
Yes, especially like you said, Thierry, with the economic situation, and there is a new way of partnership now between the manufacturer and the potential startup. It's also to try to find a win-win approach, where we can benefit from the startup technology, and the startup can benefit from the power of the established dealer network. So, yeah, not the full acquisition is, I would say, not always the right things, or not at the first step, but going first step as a partnership, and then try to learn each other, to trust each other. As Ole mentioned before, this is, I think, the first step, and this is a new way to find a win-win approach for the startup and the manufacturer.
I may also add one point is at least again on specialty crop, where we are really leading. Sorry, but the customer expectation towards the brand is really important for me. When you present something to the world, to our customers, to our dealers, New Holland branded, customer expectation in terms of reliability and of course profitability, it's much more higher than with from a startup. So this is something that takes years, and I'm always saying that, or seeing startups, this is ready for production. Okay, no, it's even not the level of a mock-up or a prototype for us. But it's normal, and respecting all of what they are doing, it's super good. So we need also to protect this. So sometimes it's better to keep their brand, trying to support them as much as we can, because we have a lot to help them, not to give them too much bureaucracy and so on, and to slow them down, to try the market, test the market, maybe fail, but learn. And then we propose in parallel a second plan with another type of product, another brand. So you get, let's say, a second chance, but the second one you cannot fail. We cannot fail, or it's ourselves, okay? So that's also a mindset or something that it's not easy to really understand.
Ali, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I think that it's coming a bit back to the point mentioning also before, that if the ambition as an entrepreneur to make a business and do a cash out or a cash in, that I think that is for me a hard motivation to be in this business, to do the long run. So personally, for me, it's seeing the technology being adopted by someone, being valued by someone. I think that's the huge benefit from my side. And that's where the partnerships, I think, is a new way of seeing that value for me. But I think the huge challenge I have in communication backwards to my investors is we might be looking at a different payoff model. And I think that's also what will be challenging, because the investors getting us to this stage will need to have some kind of return of, and I think that will also face the challenge for the OEMs, because to support startups also in the future, there has to be some kind of flow back to the ones, either business angels or seed capital funds, that gain something from it.
Anything else either of you wanted to add to that? Okay. So are we headed toward a market revolution or evolution? With rapid advancements in robotics and mechanization, do you think the agricultural technology space is evolving through incremental improvements, or is it on the brink of a revolution? And how do these changes affect the scalability in the field?
For sure, I'm happily been part of FIRA for 9 years now, and it's fantastic to see how this community are evolving. And basically on the fact of that, I would say this is a evolution that we see the technology not differencing, because we've seen auto steering, we've seen robotics coming in, something semi-automated. So I think this is a natural evolution. And I also see that, and happy to see how many people attending FIRA today, to kind of like demonstrate that this is a slow process. I don't think for farmers this is a revolution, because they can't afford a revolution, because there will be someone failing in that. And we also need to think about them as the customers in this.
Yeah, we are not, for me, it's definitely not a revolution, it's an evolution. It will be long, it will be slow, it will be challenging. I think, let's say myself or our company, that we are not there. We have done 9 years now, FIRA, a big improvement. If you look back, yes, a lot of improvement, more and more product, more and more reliable, precise. We see the demo, but we are still far, for me, to maybe 5 to 10 years, not also a century, but still far to have this mass production. We still are with the early adopters. We are still not, it's difficult in terms of user-friendly, even if we think that, or startups think that it's easy to operate. When you are a farmer, it's a big challenge to make it super simple to use, to make it affordable. At the end of the day, we also need to decrease the cost of production, and every technology that we bring on board so far, maybe not the GPS now, but they are more expensive than the traditional machines. So we need to find leverages to reduce the cost. Okay, and we are working a lot to improve, and we do, but it's still not enough. For me, it's still too expensive. The robots are super expensive. So this journey is, again, still long. And on the other side, as big manufacturer, the specialty crop, especially, is a very limited amount of business at the end of the world. It's too small. We don't have big investment. Even ourselves, we don't put a lot of money versus cash crop, where they have started a long time ago. And you see, I don't know, 20 years ago now, GPS is common, but it's only GPS. When you look at specialty crops, the challenges are 10 times more difficult, 10 times. And this, without big investments, we will never be there. And each solution, as I was joking on the wine, but each of us want a specific solutions. Okay, we will try to limit, we will try to scale some solution across the world, across the fruits, but it's so complex, so slow, permanent plantation, it will take a long time. So evolution, good, moving forward, I'm very pleased to see how it's moving, but before mass production, we will have some time.
Thank you, Thierry. Yeah, I also share the comment. It's evolution on the technology, on the machine. Yeah, the technology is getting more and more advanced every year. So yes, it's an evolution. The market acceptance might not yet there, as we have in the cash crop industry or with the conventional standard tractors, which are easy to use, which are operate since many years, even decade in the past. So the farmer, the driver are used to work in one way, but we have the feeling that this is changing. We have more and more technology coming, which is more and more ready to be introduced in the market. So in that way is the evolution. Then we could have a revolution in the ag industry and the way how we grow, and especially in cash crop, with the robotics, because all the planning and the way how we can organize the feed can be completely different with the autonomous tractor, robot, or autonomous combination.
So maybe from each of you, what is some of your best advice on moving forward into the future?
I don't know if best advice, but advice for me when I'm looking at the the business we're trying to run. Even though it might sometimes sound a bit boring for an entrepreneur to keep focus. But no doubt that's where we see the value creation within a partnership, not trying to take on all tasks at once, but kind of really being honest, looking in the mirror, saying, where is my key points? What's the key selling points where we're really adding value? Because no doubt everybody going to the tents and asking everybody loves their babies, because we know we are in this because we can kick ass, but it's also knowing where are the small differences. So I think that's a good process, but it's also a good process to do together with the colleagues, to say, okay, when we finish an event like this, where do we think we really have something to add? Because knowing that we can't all offer the same thing for Kubota, for New Holland, so we need, as Terry mentioned before, find out what small piece is it that fits in. So I think that's really also looking at the mirror at home and have that internal evaluation.
I was going to say to be patient from both sides, startup point of view, but also from our customers' point of view. They are, I think, desperate to find alternative solutions. I was to the pitch sessions, and I see robots to pick oranges, apples. They are coming, yes. We still have a long journey to do, but we will find alternative machines. We will find solutions, but this will come pieces by pieces. It's for me a snowball effect. The good thing is that we can capture now we have access to a lot of possibilities to capture data, to images, and to digitalize completely the permanent crops. And when you go, you just see and act, but just a local and a small reduction of, I don't know, putting some glyphosate on the ground, detecting the weed. The best is to do a mechanical weeding, but even just conserving what we have, keeping what we have now, it's already a big improvement. So this, pieces by pieces, slowly, we will get there. And my biggest fear, or what we have really to be careful, is to stay affordable. The landscape, the farmers need to stay sustainable for themselves, for ourselves, because if we don't have farms anymore, we will have difficulties to find wine and fruits and vegetables. So it's key for all of us.
Yes, patience, I think, is the right word. Being patient between the big manufacturer, the startup, and keep going, developing technology. As Ole said, 9 years of FIRA, we have seen some nice product outside and with different level of maturity. But yes, keep going, and we should not forget why we are developing and introducing such technology in the market. We want to support our farmer, support the agriculture to be more sustainable, more efficient in order to be more competitive.
Please.
I think there's an element also to this, that from OEMs with all what you represent, but also from us as a technology manufacturer in this case. I think there's also another element, because we don't necessarily have all the daily contacts to the end customers, and I think identify the ones that can actually bring the technology out, because we believe in it. We might also convince you to believe in it, but looking at you, Tom, our dealer from UK, that passion comes all over, that we need to have sales staff, we need to have, the whole organization needs to understand it, because otherwise, whenever it's new tech, I've seen, well, now robots are coming, they will solve all our problems, or now AI is coming, it solves all our problems. We need the realism, and then the belief in where we actually makes a big difference. So I think that's a huge importance in it. Maybe in daily life we take it for granted, but I think that's really how we make the success, is making sure that all the way to find these early adopter farmers, we need that motivation and dedication in the whole setup.
Yeah, the networks, the dealers is key also, because all of us, we are not used to those big and new technologies. So our customers, the farmers, of course, but also all the long chain is something that it will take a lot of time to bring them to the level of expectation, let's say, which is normal. And again, I don't believe we will be as user-friendly that we have on our smartphone, because we will not have enough investment or capacity to achieve at such level of everything is super intuitive, click, double click, done. And everybody in the world is using now this. In agriculture, it will take some years probably to be at this level. So passions, voila. It will come.
I'm guessing the audience probably has some questions. If you have a question, you raise your hand for our panel.
Hello, Tom Beach, a robotic dealer from the UK. My question was about the point raised twice, I think it was, around affordability. And robots, yes, are expensive, but looking in comparison to a 2025 combine harvester, a 2025 tractor, are robots really too expensive? And if so, why?
I think it's an interesting point when we look at what we can invest. But I think the convincing part here is really the business case. So the hardware investment in itself, knowing that when we build a robotic, it's a hand-built Ferrari. We know we're basically carrying every component. We don't have all the scalability. So there's no doubt we know our challenge inside. But I think it's a good point, Tom, that what is the right business case for a robot? What is the unit economics all the way to the end customers?
I don't know how to answer, by the way, to this, because I think also people, when you buy a big tractors or a big combines, you know that what you will get. You buy a brand, you buy a product and history, and most of the time you are sure to have the payback. So far with a robot, I have not seen yet a real business case and strong business case behind. Not because of the product itself, we are still looking at the size of the mission planning exactly, how do we fit this type of roles? And this history, the tractors have 200 years old. A robot, it's only maybe 9, if you count FIRA, maybe slightly before. It's NIO, the first one. But we start a journey. Which dimension, which cost versus the profitability, I think I still don't know. At least on specialty crop, on cash crop, I'm not an expert. But on specialty crop, we still don't know. So that's why you have plenty of different solutions. Which one? I call this also alternative solutions. On top of this, robots, let's say, we are adding complexity with, hey, let's go, electrification. That's another challenge. Why to electrify? And then you have, on top, alternative solution like electric weeding. We have to get rid of or trying to improve the approach to produce fruits, okay? So this come on top. So do we do a small robot for just one usage, mowing? That's it. Affordable, cheap, can do, I don't know, X hectare, X hours per year. Do the job. I buy 2, 3, 5, swarm. Or do we have a more versatile, complex, expensive, and then you start to put a couple of different implements. By the way, they need to be quite smart, because if they are completely stupid behind the robots, you even don't know what you do. So we don't know. So it's probably for a couple of years, trying, failing, and trying to adjust, to adapt. I'm more and more convinced that that's what I call the second circle. So is that we have to go beyond just our job as we CNH. It's also taking care of the full circle, like the methane tractors that we have. You take into account how you deliver the energy, like a solar panel, how you use the second life of the batteries. Maybe you swap up them quickly at lunch or during the night, or you keep them. Sustainability, and the second life maybe in the cellar, to reuse them, not to waste and to the trash and destroy the planet, you see? So this second circle make it even more complex for me. And it's important because this is where also you can get an additional benefit and revenue stream for the growers. On top, we have another one with the tourism and all those stuff, because it's nice places. I'm lucky, and we are in all the nice spots in the world. But this is on top, because at the end, if you don't have an economical balance, you go nowhere, for me. So that's my answer. So at the end, I don't have an answer.
Yeah, nothing to add really, but yeah, I'm sorry, but I will have to answer. I don't know as well. The thing I know, it's we are still learning. When we see outside, there is on the robotics, on this autonomous technology, we have so many different technology. So this is also affect the price, all the different safety we can bring with the robot, with the autonomous combination. It's all this has a cost. As a manufacturer today, it's really difficult to give a price on those technology, and also on the market side. When we talk with the customer, with dealer, the market acceptance, the price market acceptance, sometimes the answer is also, I don't know, from our customer or dealer. So yeah, today it's true that it's expensive, but yeah, difficult to say if it's too expensive or not. It's all about adding value to the end customer as well.
Other questions? There's no questions. Gentlemen, do you have some parting thoughts for us today?
I think a key message from my side, and really in this context, is how we jointly can lower the barrier for the customer adoption. Not trying to do everything at once, but taking the small evolutionary steps. I think that's how we all can contribute to this collaboration, being dealers, farmers, manufacturers, smaller is bigger. So the small steps making it adoptable, I think is definitely where we see the key focus in the near future.
Let's say I'm worried. It looks like a dark picture sometimes that I'm putting, but if you look at the climate change, you know, where we live in the west of France, it's raining since hell, since the beginning of this year, and it was the same last year. Everywhere in the world, we achieve some unbelievable historical numbers everywhere. The good point, and we have to react, but the good point is we have technologies like we never had in the past. They are there. We will adapt ourselves, and all of us, including the dealers, the network, but also the customers, the growers, all of us, and I'm including also the customers in their way to buy again fruit and vegetables. We will find a balance. It will just take time, but we have never been so fast, even if we don't show a lot of maybe results, but this step by step and smooth ramp up, let's call it like this, will deliver super good solutions for sustainability and so on. So I'm more and more convinced, there is no doubt, we will find a way.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you for being here, for your time and your words of wisdom and advice. And thank you to the audience for your time as well. And appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.